Okay, so the inflation story is not resolved. Interest rates at these higher levels have raised questions around what consumers are going to feel like going forward. Some new polling suggests that Canadian consumers are appearing a little bit more optimistic. Let's get more on the latest Bloomberg Nanos confidence polling from veteran pollster Nik Nanos, the founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. Nik, thanks for joining us. What did you find in your latest polling?
Well, what we're seeing is a little bit of an improvement, but for all intents and purposes, consumer confidence in Canada currently is sputtering in neutral. We have about a score of 50 on the 100-point index scale that we have with Bloomberg News. And, I guess the good news is it was in negative territory about a month ago, and we're now veering towards neutral. But, the reality is people are glum in the holiday season. And, when we ask people about whether they'd be spending more or less this holiday season, Canadians overwhelmingly say that they'll be spending less on gifts and also less on going out this holiday.
And do they have to give a reason why? And if they do give a reason, is it the price of stuff and also how much of their money is going towards, paying borrowing costs or credit card bills, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, our research also suggests that an increasing number of Canadians are being impacted by inflation and the rising cost of living. That's been increasing steady over the last year, and I think they're just feeling squeezed. The wallet is feeling squeezed, and they just reporting that their personal finances are not as good as they were a year ago.
And, we've looked at all these economic data points to determine the state of the Canadian economy right now, and we'll see ultimately what the Bank of Canada thinks of things as we go into next year. One of the other things we watch very closely is the employment picture. We know that the employment rate has been increasing, but generally speaking, we are still creating jobs across the country. How important does that become in your polling heading into 2024? In other words, what the employment picture looks like? Do you think that'll influence the kind of responses you're getting?
Well, the thing is, it will influence responses, but the reality is that if people's wages are not keeping pace with the rising cost of living, it's a bit of joyless prosperity, so to speak. So, what we're looking at when we look at the Bloomberg Nanos tracking, we'll probably see a little bit of a softening of the economy in the first quarter, and then it'll probably flatten out in the second and third quarter of 2024. But, the thing is that people are focused on interest rates. When interest rates go down, they feel better because they feel that they can afford things. And when they go up, they start worrying more and more about the future. So, you know what? Bank of Canada is at the top of the radar, if there is such a thing. But very focus is a significant focus for a lot of Canadians, whatever the Bank of Canada does when it comes to rates, because it has a material impact on people's day-to-day lives and the debt that they're trying to manage.
So at the end of the day, what kind of a sense have you gotten from Canadians in your polling this year on this idea of rates not necessarily or rate policy shifting early on in 2024? BNN Bloomberg's Amanda Lang spoke with Tiff Macklem, the Bank of Canada governor, who said, I think sometime in 2024 we will see a change in rates. It's still unclear as to what extent, but even based on his year-end comments after what we heard from the U.S. Federal Reserve last week, there was a view that maybe the U.S. actually ends up moving faster on rate cuts than Canada. How would that sit with the people you're talking to?
Well, I think as long as rates don't go up and there's some sort of stability, I think for average Canadians, they can plan their lives. So, I think stability in the short term and then like 60 to 90 to 120 days would probably be welcome. Of course, a cut would be, for a lot of Canadians, who'd be happy with that. But, the reality is that people still think the economy is going to be weaker in 2024. They're still worried about paying the bills, and any kind of relief that they can get in order to help pay the bills would be welcome.